everyone. Welcome back to our Golden 20s podcast. My name is Sadie, and I'm joined by my co-host Tegan.
Hi.
And today's episode is a Halloween special. We are going to be talking all about how to celebrate Halloween as an adult, as well as share some party ideas for the rest of the fall and winter season. If you are somebody who loves to host, I feel like the next few months of the year / the last few months of the year are the perfect time to host. So we're just going to chat through some hosting ideas. Before we do all of that, we are going to kick off this episode with a connection card. Tag, do you want to pull this week's card?
Yes. And please ignore my cat who is screaming on my lap right now if you hear her. Do you think, this is like about each other, so that's interesting. So we can like answer for each other, I guess. Do you think I'm someone who suppresses their emotions? Why or why not? I feel like for you, I kind of feel like yes and no. Where certain emotions you don't suppress, but then other ones you do. Like in certain ways, I find that you're very like open, but then in other ways you're very guarded. So yeah, that's like an answer that means nothing. Like
no,
yes and no.
Thinking, yes, like you got a loaded person to answer that for, because I have a lot of emotions, and to your point, I'm very like the first one to like have a deep life chat and like chat about emotions, but also I feel like there's definitely emotions I don't share and I like deny myself feeling and things like that. So definitely very complicated. I feel for you, Tag, I would say yes. And I think you talk so much on the podcast about your people pleasing tendencies. And I feel like that was kind of the first thing that came up to mind for me, where I feel like you aren't really the one to like rock the boat kind of thing. So it's very much like you would rather just be like, okay, moving on, rather than express like how somebody said made you feel or something. So I'd say that for you.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I feel like I'm a bottler and then an exploder. So then it's like if you don't know me very well, it can seem very random, where it's like, why is like Tegan suddenly just like had enough, or Tegan's just like suddenly like really upset about something that's not that deep, and it's usually like related to that.
Yeah, a bottler and an exploder. I love that. Obviously, I don't love that for you, but I love that wording. And I agree, where I've known you so long where you don't even need to like express your emotions for me to like pick up on how you feel about certain things or like certain people. Like I can tell when you're or like you're unfazed, which is like a good thing, or you're like I can just pick up on it now, where it's like you don't even need to communicate it. I know how you're feeling.
No, definitely. Great.
Fun. I love that. I love how some of these are like answering about each other. Kind of cute.
Yeah, that is fun. Cool. Yeah. Well, shall we dive into the main topic or main topics, I guess, of this episode? I think with it being like midway through October, we can start with talking about Halloween stuff and then make the transition to just general holiday related things. But I know like Halloween, for me at least, was always a very big deal growing up, where I just like loved Halloween when I was little. It was my favorite holiday. So I just love it so much. But then I do find as you get older, it can be harder to like feel in the Halloween spirit, I guess, where like if you're not dressing up for school and stuff, although maybe people don't do that anymore, but it can be hard to feel like you're a part of it. And obviously when you're not trick-or-treating or those sorts of things. So we thought it would be a good idea to share some ways to still like celebrate the season and feel festive as an adult, because I find that when you like really lean into the holidays, it just makes these times of year feel so much more like special, instead of just like, oh, summer's over, it's a bummer. It's like, let's make it special and be excited about Halloween.
Yeah. And I love how you started by saying you love Halloween, because I was actually going to ask you this, where I have it associated in my head you in Halloween. Like, you love Halloween. And I was like, is
Yeah.
that true? Is this factual? Because I'm on the opposite side of things where I really don't like Halloween. I never have. Even
Yeah.
as a kid, like, I was that person who was afraid of dressed up people. I went to Disney with my family in 2000 when I was like 4 years old. And it was like my worst nightmare. Like, my grandma's beside me in all the pictures because I just hated dressed up people. When I would dress up for Halloween, my mom told me I'd like look at myself in the mirror and like cry and freak out, be like, oh my God, who is that? Like, it's you, stupid. Like, but anyways, all this being said, I also feel like, to your point, Tag, even if you don't love it, you can find ways to lean into it without dressing up. Like, I can't tell you the last time I dressed up for Halloween. And unfortunately, for me, my birthday falls kind of around Halloween, where I find there's a lot of Halloween parties around my birthday. So through college, people would have so many parties and they were always like costume parties. But I always, okay, tell me how lame this is, but I would always be like not dressed up. I would just wear a super cute costume. I mean, super cute outfit. And people would be like, what are you dressed up as? Like, what is your costume? And I'd be like, oh, I'm the birthday girl. And that was my
That's cute.
my little workaround. But I was like, no, I refuse to dress up. So all this being said, if you love Halloween or not, I feel like there's a few things that you can do to lean into it. Because like you said, Tag, these like times of year, especially in the like later parts of the year, later months in the year where it's darker earlier, we're looking for anything that sparks some joy. So yeah, here it is. I think the first thing actually on the list, in the whole spirit of hating dressed up people, you will not catch me going out for Halloween because I dislike dressed up people still to this day. I do not trust anybody, especially when they're dressed up. So if I were to go out, my preference would be to like a house party of sorts, and where it's like I know everybody there. That was the thing through college. Like, I never went to bars or anything like that on Halloween. It was just to house parties, and still to this day. And I think, Tech, why I associate you with Halloween is because you would always have a Halloween party through college and like a house party. And I would make an effort to go. I don't think I ever really dressed up, but in any case, that would be my preferred way of like, I don't know, having a party and like celebrating with people. And if there was a chance of dressing up, it would be more so at a house party.
Yeah, definitely. I think from like the teenage years and on, most of my like Halloween like dressing up and going out was to parties. Like, I was like never a bar person either, like going out to the club or anything. So yeah, definitely house parties, I feel like, come up more and more as you're an adult. My work is also very into Halloween, so I will also dress up for work, which is always interesting if you have to wear a costume like on the subway, but you'd be surprised how many other people are doing it too, though. So
yeah, 100%. That's the best part about a big city, is there's always someone weirder than you on the subway.
Yeah, 100%. I think the first step for me to getting this applies really to like every season, but especially like Halloween and Christmas, to getting in the festive mood is to like drink and eat all the themed foods. So for fall, it's like red wine, all the pumpkin stuff, pumpkin spice lattes, all that vibe, as well as like all of the pumpkin foods, the Pillsbury, like Halloween cookies, things like that. This will automatically just put me into the proper festive mood.
Yeah, I love that. I think the next thing on my list, and probably the only like Halloween specific thing I do, is watch Halloween inspired movies. And so having a movie night either by yourself or with friends or with your partner, with your family, I think this could be a really cozy way. And again, this applies, I feel like, to Christmas movies and other times of year. But I think Halloween is definitely some of the best movies. It's a perfect time to even start your Harry Potter marathon, where it's not really Halloween-y, but kind of cozy. We were talking about that in like our fall, what was that episode? Like budget-friendly ways to embrace. Yeah, to embrace fall. But I'm also a big like classic Halloween movie person, like Hocus Pocus, and is it the new Beetlejuice movies out this year in theaters? So like there's so many fun ways to lean into this, even if you're not a big horror movie person.
Yes, definitely. Something that I always do when I watch a movie is I light a bunch of candles. And this just really cultivates like a cozy vibe. But I have like a little stack of fall scented candles that I save for this time of year. The OG, my favorite that I will burn every year, is Bath and Body Works Leaves. I remember my friend Leanne and I in high school were like obsessed with this scent, where we would like buy so many little versions of it and burn it all the time. And we were like, it smells like a man, like it smells so good. And I still like every single fall will burn this candle, and now it's like so nostalgic and nice. But that can be another way to like get in the festive mood.
I love that. I think kind of similar is decorating your home with festive decor. This could be indoors and outdoors. I don't live in a house with like a front yard, so my like apartment building doesn't lean into outdoor decor. But when I was growing up, my mom always had like stickers on the windows and like, you know, little things in our front garden and stuff like that for trick-or-treaters. But I think what I have done as an adult, and I don't even really have that much Halloween stuff, it's more autumn decor, but I do have, I'm looking at it right now, next to my couch in my living room, I have a little display of Halloween things. I have this little sign that says, "Let's get spooky." I have a ghost candle holder, and then this little tiny like pumpkin, I want to call it, it's kind of like a nativity scene, but Halloween. I don't know. It's not, but that's what it reminds me of. But it's just like this little tiny display. And again, I think it's very nostalgic because like that little pumpkin scene thing came from my mom. And I think my mom or grandma also gave me the pumpkin or ghost candle holder. So I don't know. It's just like embracing the season in your home decor could be another cute way to just make it cozy and like lean into it.
Yeah, definitely. Surprisingly, I am not a big like seasonal decorator. I think at least inside, the extent of my Halloween decorations are like I'll use black taper candles instead of white taper candles. But I do love to decorate my porch. One year I bought like a whole porch package that was
yes, I remember
like
that.
10 different pumpkins and gourds, and it had corn stalks and a hay bale and stuff like that. So I definitely love the like outdoor decorating side of things. But again, it's more like autumnal, not necessarily Halloween. I know some people are very into like the animatronics and things,
Yes.
but
The
not quite
12
on that
foot.
level.
Yeah, the
Yes,
12-foot skeleton. Yeah.
I
Home
do
Depot.
want one of those.
I was just in a neighborhood actually, like Midtown Toronto, and pretty much every house had one. It was actually kind of around where they do the Santa Clauses.
Yeah. It's like
a
thing.
Yeah, they almost all had the 12-foot skeleton. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. But
Yeah.
honestly, that would be the ideal neighborhood to go trick-or-treating in because it's a very like wealthy neighborhood. So I'd be like, oh hell yeah, I'm taking my kids to this neighborhood, see the skeleton, get the bougie candy, full-size chocolate bars, let's go.
Exactly. Well, I have a theory about like these big decorations, like the inflatables and stuff. And maybe this is me just being like jaded and bitter because I don't have any of them. But my theory is because they're so expensive, or it's like every inflatable is like what, $300, $400. It's basically just a way to be like, count how much extra money I have. I have 8 inflatables, and you know they cost $400. You know.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely a show off. Yeah. What I find funny, I really dislike inflatable lawn.
Me too.
Things. I think they actually look extremely cheap.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I agree with you almost where it's like, I think some people just really get into Halloween and some people get really into Christmas and like project that all over the front of their house. Like I do think that's part of it, but I think it also does turn into like a neighborly competition. Yeah, exactly. And that's also just like, okay, but it doesn't look good when you're, in my opinion, it doesn't look good when your whole lawn is just these inflatables things. But
and then during the day they're just like flat. You're like, anyways, moving on. And I'm like, no, I still have more to say. Why are they flat during the day?
Yeah. My sister was just ranting about how much her dog hates them. So it's like impossible to walk her right now because she just like sees all these inflatables in the neighborhood and is barking at them. So scared of them. Think of the dogs, people. Think of the dogs.
Well, I think
Anyway.
sort of related is carving pumpkins. And then
Yeah.
this doubles as your decoration. This is something I've done like solo before, or I've done like with a group of friends before, which can be really fun. And, you know, it's just a fun way to like tap into the inner child. And because obviously this is something I did as a child every single year, and then doubles as decor for you.
Yeah. I feel like you could also take this a step further and roast the pumpkin seeds or use like the pumpkin pulp stuff to bake recipes and things like that. Like, I think this could be lead into so many other fun festivities for the season. And if you're not into carving pumpkins, you could also paint them. That's been a big thing the past few years. And I feel like, I don't know, I remember as a kid, it's been again years since I've carved pumpkins, but as a kid, I'd be like, this is so much fun. And then we'd start doing it. And I was like, okay, I'm over it.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a commitment. So if you're not up for that commitment, maybe you just try painting them, go to Pinterest, get some inspo. But yeah, I feel like that's always a cute activity to do.
Yes, definitely. I think another thing is to get a festive manicure. I am getting a festive manicure tomorrow, actually, so quite excited about that. And something else I do at this time of year is listen to Halloween music. And I don't necessarily mean like looking up Halloween playlists on Spotify and like playing the first one that comes up, because it's probably the same like 20 songs you've heard your entire life, like the Monster Mash and Thriller. But I'll be looking up like instrumental Halloween music or lo-fi Halloween music, vintage jazz Halloween, things like that are like a little more acceptable to listen to in your day to day, but still kind of festive.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I've been listening to like autumn lo-fi, so it's you know, some like nice stuff, jazzy stuff like you're mentioning, but then there have been a few Halloween inspired lo-fi songs, and I think you were the first one to tell me about this, and I just find it so funny because it's like, it is very like cozy and Halloweeny, but it's just like feels so funny to listen to while I'm like in the middle of a big work project, and it's like these little spooky sounds happening. I don't know, it makes me laugh, but I low-key love it. So yeah, I second that.
The best. I think I just had two more things to mention. One is going to do an outdoor activity. This was something also mentioned in the like autumn on a budget, but anything outdoors where you can like see the autumn colors and feel like the chill and the wind can really help you feel in the mood. Anything like hiking, apple picking, pumpkin picking, that sort of stuff. And lastly is handing out candy to trick-or-treaters. There is nothing better. I don't know how many trick-or-treaters I'm going to have in my new neighborhood, but I am going to be stocked up just in case. I'm actually thinking about getting some full-size chocolate bars just in case like there are not a lot or like none show up, and then I can just eat them myself. But then if some show up, I can be like, I'm the cool house because I have full-size chocolate bars. So we'll see.
Other than you'll have to do full-size chocolate bars every year. Like word is going to get out. The new neighbors, they give out full-size chocolate bars. That's funny. I think something that I didn't write down but just came to mind while you were talking around the whole outdoor activities is like a corn maze, and how even if it's just like a regular corn maze, I feel around Halloween a lot of places do limited scary corn maze nights. Again, really not my scene, but I remember that growing up was a big thing. And similarly is like doing haunted houses. Again, I feel like these also pop up this time of year. I remember like my first job out of college, they did like a haunted house at work, which is kind of fun, but also just in the city, there's a whole bunch of these types of things pop up. I know here in Toronto, like Casa Loma, which is like a historic site / museum, they get all, you know, done up for Halloween. And there's something else. Oh, and I was thinking too, if you're not into like the spooky, scary haunted house, it could even be fun to do like some sort of like themed escape room or something, like something that's not too scary, but still, I don't know, kind of cozy and like a fun activity like that. So yeah, just some things I just thought of while you were talking.
Yeah, I love that.
Again,
I'm also not a fan
things
of
I would
haunted
do,
houses.
but
Yeah.
but
surprisingly, I like
ideas.
don't like that, but I do love Halloween. But not, I hate jump scares with every ounce of my being, and that's what they are. I have done the Casa Loma one actually with work, and it was pretty well done. Like, not so much like jump scary, and it had like a story and whatever, and it was cool to like see Casa Loma. It's the only way I think that you're allowed in like some of the parts of the house. It's when you're doing the Halloween tour, so that was cool. And it had a bar in the middle, so you could just like drink heavily, which is what I did to cope.
Yeah. Would you ever do the Canada's Wonderland Halloween haunt?
I don't think so. I think like if a big group of people were going, I could probably cope. That's the other thing. When you're in a big group and you kind of are in the middle, you're a bit safer. But I would never go just like Tyrell and I.
No.
Because
would Tyrell
that's a
go?
recipe for disaster. I think, I don't know. He's like never really expressed a desire to go to a haunted house. He does not like Halloween. Okay. So I don't think so. But yeah, like if someone were to invite me, I wouldn't be like, oh, no.
Yeah, I agree.
But I wouldn't arrange it.
yeah. I think a group is key.
Yeah.
You're onto something there. Yeah.
So you don't
I
get
will not be
scared
part
too
of
much.
that group. So.
Yeah. No, I hate either. Even in like horror movies, if there's jump scares, as soon as a jump scare happens, I'm like, nope, I hate the movie. It's over. Yeah. So, spoiler alert, that's like 99% of modern horror films I hate. So
that's funny. Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. Lots of ideas for how to celebrate Halloween as an adult. We're now going to talk about some party ideas for the rest of the year. Again, I think it's perfect time to be hosting parties and people are like moving indoors. I also think it's an important time to stay connected to friends and family if you're someone who's prone to like seasonal depression or anything like that through these like dark months that are ahead of us. So yeah, we have some more Halloween ideas, also random ideas that kind of just fit into the like season, I guess. And then we also even touch on a little bit of fun ways to celebrate Christmas as well. So maybe we'll start with some of the Halloween type things. And the first thing I think we already touched on was like a Halloween costume party. Again, I think we're both fans of the whole house party angle to Halloween. So hosting a costume party could be fun. I think another fun way to embrace Halloween, and Tag, you did this a few years ago, which I actually enjoyed despite not liking Halloween, was doing a murder mystery party. And again, this is something that could be quite elaborate, or it could be, you know, people show up and you kind of decide on the spot how it'll play out, or you could also kind of combine it with the costume party. Like I know there's websites and things like that that kind of set it up ahead of time so you know what your character is in the murder mystery, and you can actually like dress to the theme and like to your character and show up ready to go. So I don't know, I feel like that could be a fun but not scary way, or scary costume way to celebrate Halloween.
Yes, definitely. I think for Americans listening who haven't had Thanksgiving yet, there is the Friendsgiving option. I guess Canadians could do it after Thanksgiving as well. Yeah. But we did a Friendsgiving party, or went to a Friendsgiving party this year, and it was like a potluck. So it's not like the host was, you know, in charge of buying and making all of the food. And it could be a really nice way to like have a dinner party, that sort of thing, catch up with old friends, or especially like if for the holidays you spend a lot of time with your chosen family. This can be a really nice way to sort of celebrate that.
Yeah, 100%. I think another kind of dinner party idea is having like a wine and cheese night. And I think this could also be potluck style. Like what I'm envisioning is kind of like a wine tasting, but maybe everybody brings a different bottle of wine. So you get to sample like a whole bunch of different wines, or you could provide as the host. You could also provide like cheese pairings. Like you could really make this as elaborate as you want it to be. I think, again, just the colder months, it's like perfect wine season. I know as soon as it got chilly outside, I was like, okay, I'm suddenly craving some red wine. So could be a fun way to lean into that. And if you're looking for like an activity to do at this game or at this party, I feel like, again, through college, I hosted so many parties. I went to so many parties, and people were always playing drinking games. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, okay, what do people do at parties when you're not partying in a frat house. Like, what do we do? So I'm like, bring out the board games, bring out card games, like anything like that. I feel like could be a fun activity at a wine and cheese night as well.
Yes, definitely. Sort of related because it is cheese, but could be chocolate as well, is a fondue night. I feel like the 70s are like having a big moment right now, and these were very big in the 70s. And yeah, it's basically melted cheese or melted chocolate. But it's not like, obviously you can do it for yourself or you can do it for you and your partner, but it is a lot of cheese or chocolate. So it kind of works better when you have a big group of people to eat it all. And it's also just like very cozy to be eating just like melted cheese by the fire. So wanted to mention that.
I love that. Another party, this one is food centric to me, but I feel like it wouldn't be to everybody. And that's doing some sort of like sports night. I feel like a lot of sports come back in October, such as like hockey and basketball seasons are back. So this is like NHL, NBA. That's what I'm talking about. I know around American Thanksgiving is huge for football and the NFL, but we also have the WNBA playoffs happening right now, the CFL, which is Canadian football. Playoffs are happening with the Grey Cup in November. So I just feel like there's a lot going on in the sports world. Why I said it's food centric is I just think of like, your classic Super Bowl foods, lots of dips, chips, things like that. So again, could just be a cozy night in. Maybe I'm not going to suggest you make bets. Just like a few years ago, betting on sports games became legal in Canada. Now it's all I see ads for. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But maybe it's like a fun like fantasy type thing, or I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways you could make this a fun interactive night, but also still a cozy night in, and you don't need to necessarily be at the game to enjoy it. So a little bit more affordable than buying tickets to go to the actual game.
Yes, definitely. We're big, well, not we. Tyrell is big into F1, which is every Sunday, and he's recently started like inviting over his sister's boyfriend and my brother for like every Sunday, and that's our little like football Sunday vibe.
Cute.
Yeah.
The thing with F1 is when they're in Europe, like
it's at weird times.
Late nights. Yeah. Very weird times. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not every Sunday, only the ones that like make sense. Yeah. I think another idea, which can be good if you're like swapping out your spring summer clothes for your fall winter clothes, would be to do a clothing swap. This is a good way to like get a new wardrobe, be sustainable, and that sort of thing. And then another idea sort of related would be to have like a crafting party. So whether it's like we're all going to sew together or we're going to make a wreath together or journal together or whatever it is, can be something nice and like an alternative to watching a movie or playing a game, but you still, have the chance to like chat and catch up while doing an activity.
Yeah, cute. I'm looking forward to our junk journaling day or night, I guess. I think we were chatting about that in the Autumn on a Budget episode, and we've have it in the books. I'm so excited about that.
Me too.
I think you just mentioned a movie night, but this is something else I wanted to mention. Is this, I think, works really well for Halloween or Christmas. Again, leaning into those like Halloween specific movies, Christmas specific movies. I'm picturing like a super cute little like popcorn bar, and it could be mulled wine, and just like leaning into the cozy vibes with a group of friends could be a lot of fun. I feel like you need to know your friends. Maybe you get together and you like make fun of the movie and you chat through it and it's just on in the background, or maybe you're people who actually like sit and watch the movie. Like, I don't know, maybe think about that first, but I think it could be fun if it was like conversational and had good snacks. I'm all about the food when it comes to hosting a party.
Yes, definitely. I think even like TV shows work well for this. If you're like, come over and we're going to watch like all of the Thanksgiving and Halloween Friends episodes, or like we're going to watch a bunch of Gilmore Girls or something like that, could be fun.
Yeah. Bring back like Bachelor Monday vibes, like, that could be fun.
I think another idea, food related, would be to do a cookie swap. I've never done this before, but I know like the moms love it. And it's basically like you hear how many people are at the party and you make a set number of cookies for all of them. So if there's 5, you'll bring 5 sets of cookies, and then you swap, and then you leave with a cookie from every single person. So basically the idea is that you do a bunch of Christmas baking in one day, and then you have like a bunch of different Christmas cookies for the rest of the season, that kind of thing.
Cute. I have not heard of that, but I love it. I think, speaking of Christmas, the last thing on my list was hosting a ugly Christmas sweater party. And this is a tradition that, again, back in my college days, was when this tradition started for me and my college roommate. And we would host in college, we didn't host it. We just went to a ugly sweater Christmas party every year. And then when we graduated, we're like, why don't we just carry on that tradition? So we started hosting it ourselves. And then even when I started living with other roommates, I felt like we always had a Christmas party. But it all started with an ugly sweater Christmas party. A few years ago when I did host, I think maybe for the first time by myself, I was hosting a party, like when my last roommate moved out. I was like, I really want to get into this. So I like printed out little awards and I like gave them to people. I also made Jello shots because I was still in my early 20s. And I gave Jello shots to the people who won the awards. But it was like, the most festive, the most sparkly sweater, like things like that. So again, could be just like a cute theme for a Christmas get together.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like for Christmas, you either have to go like ugly Christmas sweater or like over the top, like Christmas glam. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So I love that. And then
was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. I didn't have a Christmas party last year because the year before that, I was like dead. I was like, this was so much work. The cleanup was absolutely crazy. Like, I don't even know why my place was so trashed. I think it was like my first party since COVID. So it was just like people forgot how to be at house parties. I don't know. But in any case, I was like, I had to take last year off. But when I had my party 2 years ago, the dress code was like either sparkly or ugly sweaters. So it was so funny because I wore like a really cute sequin skirt and a bodysuit, but some of my friends showed up in like ugly Christmas sweaters and tights, and they're like, oh, these are different vibes. And I was like, but it's still so like Christmassy and cute, and I loved it. So yeah,
that was so good. Do you think you'll do a party this year?
I don't know. I don't know. I just hosted my family for Thanksgiving, and I was prepared to have to clean for like days after because my sisters brought their pets, and like we had beds in every room in my house. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot. But I didn't end up having to clean that much. Again, it was just my family. But still, I was like, maybe I could host a Christmas party. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how my mental health is doing at that time of year, and if I'm willing to take that on or not. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It is a lot. I think one thing that my family always did was have a New Year's Eve like get together because New Year's Eve is like a big thing in Scotland. And this is another way. It kind of reminds me of when Harry Met Sally. They're like always at New Year's Eve parties in that movie. But definitely, I think for that, lean into the glitz and glam and have all the bubbly and all of that good stuff. But again, that party can be so simple. Like you just put on Rockin' New Year's Eve on the TV, buy like a bunch of cheap bubbly, call it a day. There's the party. So another sort of festive idea. Yeah,
I love that so much. I'm not a big New Year's Eve person. But I feel like, if it was like a glitz and glam, get dressed up kind of vibe, I feel like I'd be into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like now that we're in this new house, I'm like, I feel like we need to come up with an annual party, whether it's like Halloween or Christmas or New Year's. And we like haven't decided, or something in the summer. I don't know. So
I feel New Year's is hard because people typically have plans over the holidays. Like either people go away, or they leave the city to see family. So it's like hard to coordinate. But we will see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I think those were all of our ideas. Hopefully you got some inspiration about like how to lean into Halloween and how to celebrate like the rest of the season as we head towards the end of this year. We do put out a new episode every single Tuesday. So if you like this episode, make sure you're subscribed to us and following us so you see when those new episodes drop. They come out every Tuesday. Did I already say that? I don't know. You can follow us on social media. In between that, we are at Our Golden 20s on almost all of the platforms. And we also have a Patreon page, which is the best way to show your support for the podcast. And all of the episodes drop there early and ad-free. So if you listen every week, definitely consider this option. I think that's everything. Thanks for listening. Bye.